our place in Maine a large circle of shells, bright white shells among the cedars, and they stood out on the pine needles. Right in the middle, there was a stone. And the whole thing was very inviting. I found myself walking in and looking around at the circle, and I was drawn to the stone. It was just about perfect for sitting on, so I sat down on the stone, and I had a sense of peace, of healing, a sense of wonder and joy. Later on, I began to wonder about that place and how I got there. I asked my sister if she knew anything about it, and she said, yes, it's my healing place. Turns out that wherever my sister goes, she takes a token from the garden she sits in at home to heal herself. In the center of those clamshells at our place in Maine, she put a rock from the stone wall that surrounds her healing garden at home. She and I discovered that we both share a love of sacred stones. For me, church sanctuaries are my healing place, and I like to take rock souvenirs from each one I visit where I feel especially at home. Here's one I took from our parking lot on the day I arrived. And this pebble, a little bit more shaly, is from the First Parish Church in Norwell, Massachusetts, where I grew up. I usually like to keep one in my pocket, so I can always go to my healing place when I need to. Probably seems strange to you that sanctuaries are my healing place, but my friend Patrick O'Neill puts it this way: I don't know of any clergy person who does not have similar feelings for sanctuaries. I think we're a little bit like surgeons. We're fascinated by other people's operating rooms. So if I go someplace and the sanctuary doors are unlocked, I always go in, and if I have the opportunity to look around, I can find out a great deal in 20 minutes. It's enough time to read the plaques, to look at the cornerstones. I sit in one of the pews right out there where you are. And if there's a choir loft, I always go up there and take a view from there. If they're candles, I light one for my old Universalist grandmother. And, of course, I always climb up and stand in the pulpit, take it for a little test drive. And finally, out in the parking lot, I pick up a pebble. Healing happens when we expand our understanding of its source. We know it comes from people who love us, but it also can originate from the places we love. The light and smells in some places, like hospitals, for example, can often depress us. And yet, our favorite room at home can make us feel good. But why? An immunologist, Esther Sternberg, says that scientific research reveals that some physical places actually create stress. They make us sick. And there are good places that trigger our internal pharmacies and help heal us. Think about this. Try it in the next few days. Turn your healing place into a tangible and portable form, like the rosary or the rock from Cape Cod. Show it to people. Or maybe instead take a picture if it's a room, or bring an object from your healing place, like my sister lugging that stone from the stone wall. Maybe it's a lacrosse stick, or a paddle, or a shell from your beach, or a leaf from your forest. Perhaps it's a dog leash representing your walks, a ski pole, maybe even a paddle from a canoe. Even if you live a long life, it will still be a relatively short time in your body. Being incarnate, being a human, is fraught with all kinds of experiences. When the less appealing of those experiences comes, it's best to welcome them with open arms. And I know that seems counterintuitive, but by denying what is happening to you, or repressing your feelings with addictions or unhealthy habits, you forego the opportunity to grow. You miss the chance to spar with scary thoughts, ugly impulses, or the overwhelming grief we all have. And when we spar with those things, we can become more compassionate. Now, there are still plenty of people out there, and I don't just mean drug dealers, who will offer you a way around your misery. Advertisers will tell you life can be rosy if you only buy X, Y, or Z. And if some of you go on Facebook, you will notice that somehow Facebook has discovered whatever it is you looked on at Amazon, or Sears, or Best Buy, or the jewelry store, and it pops up right in front of you. It's almost as if it's a quick way to nirvana. And there are a myriad of obsessive-compulsive behaviors to avoid facing what comes at us. I'd love to think there was some quick panacea, but after decades of studying psychology, religion, philosophy, or actually just of living, I truly believe the only way out is through. That doesn't mean you have to weather every storm alone. One of the most difficult but most important things about healing ourselves is asking for help. One of the reasons today we ask who here is willing to help, and we must also learn to ask for help when we need it, whether it's a friend, a relative, a therapist, a hotline, a clergy person, a 12-step group. You need to get all the support you can. You know, too many of us were brought up under the old Calvinist idea, the ethic of independence and self-sufficiency, that says no matter what, we should grin and bear it by ourselves. Any of you remember that very early computer game called Oregon Trail? Some of you do. Well, in Oregon Trail, you are a character that has to cross the country, and all sorts of terrible things happen to you along the way. But you see, though it would take a really tough person to make it across the Oregon Trail, we're not traveling across the wilderness in a covered covered wagon. Most of us live our lives in the wilderness of our own realities. Probably you remember that when the Buddha was sitting under the Bodhi tree, he was assailed by demons. They came and he tried to fight them off, and they wouldn't go. Finally realized that he would never get rid of the demons. He asked them to have tea. We need to take a page from the Buddha's book and befriend our demons. Jung, Sigmund Freud's disciple, and also a disciple of the Buddha, believed each of us has a shadow side. And we need to embrace that shadow side if we want to be fully human. By inviting our demons to tea, we establish ownership of our shadow. You, me, all of us, already have the fortitude to face anger, fear, jealousy, lack of self-acceptance, guilt, and anything else that makes us suffer. By dancing with the demons, we reclaim our power. If we try to bury them, they're really being fed. And they come out, often in a projection of our pain onto someone else. You know, it takes guts to face your demons, but everyone has the innate capacity to do it. You already have done it. Have you ever been ill? Divorced, child of divorced parents, child of an alcoholic, an addict, moved to a place where you didn't know anyone, weathered a financial storm, been estranged from a family, experienced the death of a loved one. If you have, you've already faced demons. You courageously kept going. It was not easy or fun, but you persevered even when you thought the pain would never stop. Slowly, though, it abated. At first, we don't even notice. But then there's a subtle lessening of anxiety and fear and grief. And as the weeks and months pass by, we start to feel more alive and open. That resiliency supports each of us through every challenge. It allows us to stretch beyond what we thought our limits were, finding more and more capacity to bear what we thought was unbearable. See, we are here for everything, the whole enchilada, not just the kittens and the rainbows. The sooner we embrace the totality of life with its highs and its lows, everything in between becomes healing. No one is exempt, no matter what their life looks like or what story they tell you. Every person is a mix of trauma and treasure. By persevering, speaking lovingly to yourself when the going gets rough, and assuming the best about yourself, you will make it to the other side. Just like all the molecules in you and around you, things are always moving and shifting. Whatever you feel right now at this moment won't last. It can't last. It won't last. And that's what makes life so exciting, so bittersweet. By embracing the vicissitudes of life with a compassion for yourself and for others. You allow yourself to experience whatever is happening to you right now. This is known as mindfulness, acceptance, liberation, and ultimately healing. Let me end with this. Some of you may know the comedian Louis C.K., very popular, one of the most popular comedians today, and with good reason, because he often intelligently and emphatically discusses some very important things in life. Not too long ago, actually, some of you may have seen this in 2013, he was on the Conan show, and he was in a full rant against smartphones, about how he didn't want his kids to have smartphones because kids are mean enough without being able to text their hatred. That it's important that you at least see the person that you're trying to bully. And he thought about this one. I said, and you know, that's so true for us. We always try to avoid being alone. We try to avoid the hard thing, the sad thing. And he told about a time when he was in his car and a song that he loved came on the radio, made him feel very, very sad. So what did he do? He reached for his phone. He would rather have text and died and killed someone else than to face the sadness that the song reminded him of. And so he put it down. It was a Bruce Springsteen song, by the way. He pulled over, and he said, I just cried. It was beautiful. The sadness, poetic. But once he let the sadness hit him, Louis C.K. said, I was grateful to feel sad. It healed me. And then I met it with true and profound happiness. That's how Louis C.K. healed himself. And we can too.